It's extraordinary to be here. I really am so happy that Normal went out of its way to create this space. We have so much work ahead of us, and just to give Dale the acknowledgement that he's due. I'm going to kind of gingerly talk a little bit about where we are in the post-19 era, regardless of sort of where we stood on Proposition 19. DPA was a big supporter of Proposition 19, given what its potential was to open up everything. And actually, we think that that's largely what did happen, and that we're in an era in which that has essentially been defined by the Proposition 19 campaign. I'm going to just say a little bit about the challenges that face us in this new chapter, in this new moment. And just to start with, just the obvious thing is that Proposition 19 was a game changer. It it got more votes than any marijuana legalization thing ever. I mean, 44.6 million people, 46.5% of the vote, defying conventional wisdom about what was possible, particularly in an off-year election, in a midterm election in this country, with this smaller, more conservative, older electorate. It blew away the conventional wisdom. Of course, many of us thought it had the possibility of actually winning, but we are we're experiencing a bounce that comes out of Prop 19 defying that wisdom. The enormous media that it generated by being first out of the gate on the scale that Proposition 19 represented meant that it normalized this conversation nationally, which you can't put a price tag on what that has meant for the movement nationally. And then, of course, politically, Prop 19 is arguably responsible for placing the legalization of marijuana in the mainstream of American politics where it belongs. Right? And as both Dale and Tom have said, President Obama not chuckling now, right? And then, specifically about this campaign, the unprecedented coalition that came together with our friends in law enforcement at, taking the lead, but this coalition that included organized labor, mainstream civil rights organizations, particularly the state's largest union, the 700,000 member service employees union, the California conference of the NAACP. Those of you who were at the Normal conference in Portland got to see our friend Alice Huffman. I mean, it's just extraordinary. This is a national model for what the coalition to end marijuana prohibition is going to look like moving forward. We have an enormous amount to build on. And then, just talk about we're here with our amazing friend Tom Amiano, who has done more than any elected official in the state of California and arguably in the nation to move this issue forward. Proposition 19 created the climate in which the California legislature had to vote for Mark Leno's SB 1449, the bill that made simple possession of marijuana infraction in California, and created the climate in which Governor Schwarzenegger had to sign it, right? We get to claim that. That is what happened in the course of this. So, for the sake of time, just putting all that aside, we clearly have a lot of work ahead of us, right? We can't kid ourselves that we are in an era in which the fall of marijuana prohibition, given, even though, huge majorities of folks question it, significant majorities want to overturn it, we still have a ways to go, particularly if we're looking at an initiative in 2012. There's a bit of we have a fight on our hands. The research indicates that the opposition to the legalization of marijuana feels more intensely in their position than the supporters of marijuana legalization do in their support of that position, right? We have just that. There's the historic presumption in California against. Did I say that the opposite of what it was supposed to be? Okay, good. I heard a little buzz. So I was like, and then just, in California initiative politics, there is a historic presumption against running initiatives in consecutive election cycles, right? That tends not to work out. So, we have just that to work against. I think it's likely that the media is going to be more skeptical the second time around, that we were floating on the novelty of this issue within the mainstream media, and that there's going to be a harder look at it going forward. That was 5 minutes. Okay, I'm going to take another minute, Dale, if you'll allow me. Obviously, there is a lot of work to be done to shore up core constituencies. The swing voters, because this is not going to happen primarily through the base, but we have a lot of work to do to particularly get women, people of color, other more natural allies, the progressive constituencies in the state, to actually vote their conscience on this one. And then obviously starting today and actually starting the day after the election and moving into today and moving on forward, we have work to do to get our own house in order, to talk within the base about where we go moving forward. We are not all on the same page. That's cool. This is a family. As far as DPA is concerned, this is the time to actually debate, to put everything on the table. And we mean everything. Everything should be discussed. But when it comes to what we do next, it has to be the intersection that, if there's going to be a next initiative, that there's going to be legislation, it has to be at the intersection of principle. What is what is right when it comes to ending this pernicious punitive prohibition, and what research tells us is possible to make happen in 2012. That is where the sweet spot is, right? Principle versus what's viable. But everything needs to be on the table right now. I appreciate your time today.